My first question to ask you today is when you're feeling an uncomfortable emotion, whether that be anger, sadness, guilt, shame, what is usually the first thing that you do when that emotion arises? The healthiest answer to this would be to sit with it. But I know for a fact that's not my answer, and I know it's probably not most people's answer. For me, I'm running to my phone immediately. I'm scrolling, I'm going on TikTok. I'm going to try to find any way to distract myself that is going to be the easiest, the most convenient, and not require me to do a lot of thinking or working. So for me, it's going to be my phone. I'm scrolling and I'm on social media. I can spend hours on my phone. One thing I've realized that I can spend hours on my phone when I'm experiencing an uncomfortable emotion. Within the hours of scrolling, when I put that phone down, when I shut it off, and I'm in silence with myself and my thoughts, those emotions always come back. And for some reason, they feel stronger. I like to think of this idea as a band aid for your emotions. You're using a distraction to avoid whatever that uncomfortable feeling is, and that distraction is your band aid. Don't use the band aid. I'm going to tell you why not to. During these moments, I like to think of silence as the biggest enemy. It is your biggest enemy. That pause of awareness is everything. It's when the emotion is at its all time high and you are feeling it really hard. Just really hard. It's like sharp, it's there, you can't ignore it. And that's usually those moments of silence. When you decide not to be aware of this emotion, however, and you decide to use your band aid, your body keeps score. It keeps it trapped in your nervous system and it stays there until you decide to recognize it, until you decide to notice it and put your focus on it. It is going to stay there as long as possible. A few months ago, I had an emotion trapped in me from 2021. I was experiencing this sadness and this frustration, and I didn't know what exactly it was until I sat with it and went through all the steps I'm going to explain in today's video. Then I realized that this emotion wasn't even something I was feeling from now, but it was something that had happened to me back in 2021 that triggered this emotion and this feeling that my body remembered that I didn't. And oftentimes, when we use these band aids and we use these distractions to continue to keep us afloat, I should say, or in a good emotional state, more oftentimes than not, they become a habit. And we often run to these distractions every single time there's an uncomfortable feeling. Now, it doesn't matter if we use the distraction every single time we get that uncomfortable feeling. The moment you have time to sit with your thoughts and you are not distracted by anything and your awareness can finally focus on what it is, you're going to experience the emotion. So it's always going to come back. It comes back when it is no longer fighting with something else to have your attention. Anything in life, really. Whenever you try to avoid something, it's always going to come back. The question is really just when. When is it going to come back? And that all depends on you. It depends on your current state, depends on what you're doing, it depends on where you're at in life. Oftentimes, a lot of people talk about childhood trauma too, how we experience trauma and emotions from and triggers at adult ages from our childhood that we were unaware of because our body and our nervous system keep score. You're obviously going to have to work through stuff that you've experienced as a child that you may not even think had that big of an effect on you. And then you come across a situation and experience and there's something that triggers it and there you are feeling every single emotion that you felt when you were 8, 10, 11 years old. The body keeps score. And the longer you have those emotions trapped inside of you, the longer you ignore it, the worse it's going to make you feel. The harder it's going to be to get those emotions out. And also, stuck emotions can make you sick. If they are low vibration emotions like anger, fear, guilt, shame, they can make you physically ill. That's for another time and another topic. But if it's something that you're interested in, I suggest you look it up and do some research into it. Stuck emotions can make you sick, they can cause you pain. It genuinely makes life a lot harder for you to navigate and for you to feel free and move with light and love. Now, do I think that anybody wants to use a distraction when it comes to their emotions? No, because I know I don't, but I know that it happens and it's natural for it to happen because when something is uncomfortable, we want, as human beings, we want to be comfortable. We want to make sure that we're safe and we're feeling good. And sometimes those emotions don't make us feel safe. They don't make us feel good. They're uncomfortable. And we're going to resort to comfortability. And that's going to be whatever that distraction is for you. For me, it's doom scrolling. I get on TikTok and I scroll. Literally, right before I recorded this video, I had a moment where I had a really uncomfortable feeling. And instead of me sitting with it because I was trying to get my work done, I was like, I'm gonna distract myself. I immediately picked up my phone and started scrolling on TikTok. And I was like, okay, wait, what is going on? I had to put the phone down and really log back in because I was like, hold on. Like, we cannot just be escaping some of these feelings by using these little band aids. Because at the end of the day, when I put the phone down, when I finish my work, when I get off of this camera, I'm going to have to feel the emotion. So you might as well feel it now and might as well pinpoint exactly what it is. And that's how you get started with actually healing the wound and not just putting the band aid over it. You first need to identify what exactly it is that is making you feel the way that you're feeling and what are you feeling. So identify the trigger, identify what exactly happened, what you came in contact with, what you heard, what you experienced that made you feel the way that you did. Now, digging a little bit deeper, you have to figure out what the emotion actually is that you're feeling because emotions hide under this big umbrella. You can think that you're angry, but maybe you're really scared. Maybe you are feeling betrayed or you're feeling like you're not being heard about something. You have to get very deep and down to the nitty gritty of the why you're feeling this emotion. And maybe you don't even know what the emotion is that you're feeling. I like to use the emotional wheel. Um, it's commonly used in therapy to allow clients to be able to express or pinpoint exactly what it is that they're feeling. So, oftentimes, when we look at this wheel, you can look at the word angry and see how many emotions actually fall into the category of anger. It's not just being angry, a whole bunch of other things that anger may mask. So, looking down to the nitty gritty, understanding that emotion, that feeling, and where it stemmed from. Where it stemmed from, why the emotion happened, is the first step. By you just doing this, you are first bringing your awareness to it. And I want to add in here, because I meant to mention this earlier, is that emotions and feelings are always temporary. That is the number one thing to know is that an emotion and a feeling is always temporary. There's going to be a rise, there's going to be a peak, and there's going to be an exit, but only if you allow it. If you use that band aid, you are not allowing your emotion to flow through you, but rather you're keeping it trapped inside of you. And that is not what we want because then it takes a longer time for you to get the emotion out of your system and your body. This is why I love dancing. I love moving the body. Anything that like uses movement and like allows you to move your fascia is like so golden when you're going through an emotional tough time period because even if you feel like mentally you don't have the strength to be able to like move the emotions out of your body, by you just moving your body, moving your fascia, it helps it so much and kind of gives you that little push towards the exit. That first understanding and awareness that emotions are just constantly moving, they're moving through you and they are not permanent, honestly gives me a little bit of peace of ease, like eases the mind a little bit. I hope that it helps ease your mind as well because it just goes to show that you're not always going to be feeling the way that you're currently feeling. And life has so many ups and downs. Like, I know there are some moments where I am feeling on top of the world. There's other days where I am not feeling good at all. And I try to push through my emotions and I try to get the things done that I need to. But it's hard and it's difficult. But knowing that, like, hey, you know what? Today just might be one of those days. These emotions are not going to be here forever. And I tomorrow might be feeling 10 times better. Knowing that the emotions just come and go and they can flow in and they can flow out is one of the best things to know. And for me, it gives me so much comfort, especially when I am having a hard day or dealing with a hard emotion. So after you have named it, you've identified exactly what it is. This is you bringing your awareness to it. You're not distracting yourself. You're saying, hey, I'm feeling some type of way. I need to see exactly what I'm feeling like, why I'm feeling this way. And as soon as you identify it, it's now time for you to feel it and release it. One of my favorite ways to do this is to cry. I am a crier. I cry. Even if I'm feeling like happy, if I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling angry, irritated, betrayed, whatever it is, I just know whenever I start to feel that bubbling of emotions, I'm gonna start crying. It doesn't even matter. It could be like the happiest thing for me. I could be full of joy and gratitude. I just cry because it's an I don't know, it's like a natural thing for me when it comes to emotions is that's my first release. I know some people do like somatic shaking. Journaling is a great one. Write it out. If I'm feeling like the emotion is really, really stuck and I'm like, I can't even really identify yet, I know there's something going on. Journaling is like a great way to even help identify, to dig a little bit deeper, and to release that energy. Dancing again, even massage therapy. Massage therapy is like a newer one that I have kind of started to look a little bit more deeper into when it does come to your like emotions and obviously like that fascia release. Anything really that will help you feel the emotion and not mask it. And that feeling is usually going to be something that is like moving your body, like actually like allowing your nervous system to like be released. Also, breath work. Breath work is really good when it comes to feeling an emotion, just like inhaling, breathing out, releasing the emotion, feeling it that way. Anything that I feel like would regulate the nervous system in a way that allows you to push the energy outward. For some people, that may look like singing, dancing, maybe going on a run, using the sauna, an ice bath, anything that just allows you to push the energy outward. You've identified it, you understand what it is that you're feeling it, and now you're releasing the energy. That is the perfect combination in a perfect world when it comes to really feeling your emotions and releasing them. I am going to say that sometimes you don't have the option to just release your emotion. And that could be if you are, I don't know, like at a work conference, if you're at work, if you're in school, if you're in a public area, if you are in a position where you kind of have to put all of your focus to what is in front of you right now and you don't have the time to feel the emotion. In that case, I would say the band aid is going to be the best option. But when you do get that moment of silence or that moment where you are in stillness after you've been able to now shift your focus and awareness to the emotion that is currently arising, that is the best time to figure out and identify what it truly is that you're feeling, feel it, and release it. Band-aids really only become dangerous when they are constantly being used as a coping mechanism. So instead of you putting awareness towards your emotions, you are just using the band-aid consistently. It's like your go-to, it's your number one source to feeling better or to using it as a coping mechanism. And I think that's when it's dangerous. There's just a lot happening at once. And sometimes you are in a position where you just genuinely have to use your band aid and you have to use that distraction in the moment and in the time being. But it's always still considered healthy if you use it when it is in those states of necessity. And then when you get to your moment of silence or you get to have time to yourself and really work through those emotions and release them properly, that is still healthy. And that's still a really good combination. And I think pattern recognition is everything, especially when it does come to healing and it comes to evolving in life. Just recognizing patterns, recognizing cycles, and if those cycles and patterns are healthy for you. Because emotions can be big and they can be scary and trauma is real, anything when it does come to your emotional state should be handled with care and it should be handled in the most delicate, proper way for you. I'm a very big advocate for when it comes to healing, not one size fits all at all, because I have siblings who we heal completely different. And we've grown up in the same environments. We've had very similar experiences. I will not say two people experience the same thing because that is not true at all. But again, having somebody so close to you and even being like blood related to them and seeing how they heal so much differently than you just goes to show that healing is not a one size fits all, and it's going to be so different for everybody, especially because we all have different experiences and we all cope differently and handle things differently. But I do encourage you to take the route to always try to allow energy to move through you, especially your emotions, and when there are those hard and rough low vibrational emotions that can get tracked into the body, because you do not want to be carrying weight of something from years ago that is making your life harder and more difficult now, even if you're no longer in that situation. Again, always easier said than done. However, one thing I like to do day in and day out at the end of the day is I like to sit with myself before bed and just give myself a little check in. See how I'm feeling, what's overwhelming me, what do I need to pay attention to, and recognize my day and go through my day, see what left an emotional imprint, just really scan myself and scan my body and just spend like 10 to 15 minutes of like silence with myself. If I don't do it in the morning, I try to do it at nighttime. The morning time for me is always a good time to like set the tone for the day, but nighttime allows me to like release all of the emotions and things that I've experienced throughout the day. So I'm not going to sleep with them. And as I talk about in a lot of my other videos, like stretching before bed is so good. Just moving your body, getting a little bit of a flow in, doing something that moves that energy and pushes it out right before bed, even if it's very, very small, will be helpful. So, to anybody that is a band aid user when it comes to your emotions and not wanting to feel your emotions, I get it. I feel like we've all been there. And I just want to remind you that your emotions are temporary. They come and they go and they flow with the seasons of life and where you're currently at and what you're currently coming in contact with. But you have the power. You genuinely have the power to release those emotions properly. And they don't have to stick with you all day. They don't even have to stick with you for 10 minutes if you don't allow it to. And I think that is one of our most powerful things as human beings and just spiritual beings in general, is the fact that we have this ability to move energy around and to flow, to utilize that to our advantage when we are in these difficult and crazy lives that we live. But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I will be back with another one. Bye.